and I would sit there and I would light a candle and I would text a friend and say that's going to be okay. And I think that this didn't just happen during COVID, but it also happened after. So people as singles always ask me, it gets so lonely, how do people do it? And I always tell them that same story. So I want to hear why and how you think therapy and music, how they transcend one another or cross over.
Well, and you are the expert, so I defer to you, but I think the best medicine is letting someone know that their issues are theoretically unremarkable. And what I mean by that is that there's a relatability to everything. Right. I don't believe that there are people who have thoughts no one else has. I don't believe, part of when someone has anxiety, it has this sort of spiritual isolation. I choose you to be anxious. I choose you to be consumed with your own thoughts. And everyone else in the restaurant, they're fine. Look at them smiling. Absolutely. Look at them smiling. They don't have an issue.
Yeah.
And when you learn that every one of them do, I think a lot of people's problems get their energy from the sense that they're solitary. Yes. And finding out that your problems are unremarkable, while it may initially make you feel a little dumb, like, oh, it doesn't mean you're unremarkable, but to find out that most people's problems are pretty, I should ask you, across the spectrum of your clients, your patients, couldn't you reduce the problems to 3 or 4 core tenets?
I don't, they do. I always tell people, in psychotherapy, you do the hard work. I don't do anything. I'm just on the journey with you, but it's real. No, go ahead, sorry.
But in terms of what's being, no, of course, but in terms of what's being brought to you, aren't the themes pretty regulated? They're pretty similar?
Well, the symptoms are, but people's themes differ. Yeah. So somebody with anxiety about losing a job and somebody with anxiety about losing a loved one, right? Like, how do we, compare traumas, and how do we compare grief? And yes, you're right on many levels, but it's also looking at the symptoms and not saying that, symptoms and people's unique experiences kind of blend, because they're two different things.
Yeah. So to the one parcel that I can speak to, especially feeling things myself growing up, finding out that I wasn't alone took some of the quote unquote fun away. And by fun, I mean kind of the same kind of fun you would have picking at a scab or tonguing a wound in your mouth or something like that kind of safe fun. To me, I think where I'm getting at in terms of music, crossing over with psychotherapy to the extent I know very little about it, there is something inherently calming in hearing someone else explain an experience or an observation that has happened to you or that you have had. And it's very neutralizing. Okay, my ride on life is not just me on this ride.
Right.
I might be the only one I can see right now, but if John is singing about it, holy crap, that means it's happened to him. He's telling me about something that's happened to him that's also happened to me. Exactly. And again, I go back to the thing of, okay, it doesn't mean your problems are solved, but it takes away the slight terror of the idea that you've been chosen and only you have been chosen for this problem. And I think that's the thing, that's the relatability. Like, I'll listen to Frank Sinatra ballads about love lost, and I'll go, well, this is remarkable. Everyone has gone through this. And the language has really remained unchanged since the beginning of recorded music. The themes are the same. We can also kind of draw a similarity between the symptoms that a patient has with the distinct themes that a singer-songwriter has. So if there are trends in songwriting, right now, I feel like we're leaving a little bit of, this kind of this ouchy sort of thing of, how could you do this to me?
Right.
But it's no different. It's the same feeling. It's just the symptoms are different. And so the symptoms of songwriting become the language and the angle of attack you take. But it's all the same. It's you wish you stayed, or it's I left because I couldn't stay,
But
or you know, I mean, you could probably break it down to 10 major themes that continue to bear fruit because
yeah.
the heartbreak business is good. The heartbreak business is good and has been for years and will be. If you could invest in heartbreak as a stock, that would be a blue chip.
But you know what's
if it's find out it doesn't change, it's good. What's that?
Well, sorry to interrupt, but you know what's really crazy, and I'm really passionate about this. But when I asked about music and therapy or psychotherapy, I guess like when I was on hold for a little bit, I was listening to Bonnie Raitt "Have a Heart," and I could not believe it was playing, and I'll tell you why. Because in junior high, it was my dad's girlfriend's favorite song, and she was so in love with him. And I would look at her in the car while we would belt out this song, because I sing a little bit, and my husband plays guitar. But anyway, it was just, when that was on and I was on hold, I almost I got triggered. I immediately went back to that place. And I thought, what are the chances of this song? I mean, the Bonnie Raitt song, "Have a Heart"? Like, are you kidding me?
I mean, that song is brutal.
Oh, it's amazing.
I mean,
It's amazing. It's amazing.
It's atomic. I mean, to
yeah.
think who this person is. I mean, and I have some experience being on both sides of that paradigm there where, you know, I mean, that is a brilliant way to express disappointment and hurt. I mean, have a heart.
Yeah.
That phrase. I mean, we're always trying as songwriters to lift these phrases that you hear in conversation you've heard throughout your life. And you can write all the songs you want in the world that are like, you know, I hope you get a flat tire today. I hope when you go to work, you know, I want you to hurt like I hurt. You know, that's a lot of that is, I want you to hurt like I hurt plus 10%. And to hear a wound like that in a song and have her sing with that much vulnerability, even if you think about the phonetics of "have a heart," there's this kind of breathing out of "have a heart." The way she sings it, if you don't love me, why don't you let me go?
Right.
But have a heart. And I'm always more brutalized by a kind of hurt that can still express itself fairly in a way.
Yeah.
Like, you know, I hope you blow up. Certainly one way to express you're being hurt. But this idea of going into someone else's chest saying, how could you, why would you do, how could you do that? There's a vulnerability to me that will always hit a little harder than pure, well, you know, I'm talking to an expert here, that anger is just sort of an extension of sadness.
But I love the
sadness more powerful.
But I love the combination of sadness, where she's like, have a heart, with such desperation, and then the anger comes in, talk on, talk on, talk on, and it's like the anger and the sadness.
I mean, it's an indictment on this person.
Exactly.
Talk on about what you need.
Yes.
You know? Yeah, keep the talk on. When people calmly and sort of fairly present their hurt, I'm all ears. I also like it in songs when people take responsibility. I love a song.
Absolutely.
Even if it is skewering someone the whole time, and then they say, but you know, I had my stuff too. Like, I have a song called "Shouldn't Matter But It Does," and I sing at the end. And if it's on someone, then I blame the both of us. And I love that. That to me hits really hard, because if I know that you're open to both angles, then I know that your hurt is being accurately portrayed, because you're accurately portraying everything else. That's my favorite stuff in the world. Oh, that's my favorite stuff in the world. And then, of course, the way that she sings. So, as I've gotten older, my music is less about making it, because I have, and there's very, you know, even if I put the biggest record out of my life tomorrow, I'm not sure it would have the same legs it had when I was 25, because there's this built-in advantage to being younger. But that's okay, because where I am now is that I go on stage and I sing for people who I can see are visibly moved in a way that only time and being together for years and having experienced this music for years can do. And so that, to me, I mean, thank you is the best compliment now. You know, like that was cool, but people saying thank you.
Well,
That means that I've gone all the way into the middle of the chest.
thank you for having dinner with me during COVID when I was single, and now I'm married and have a wonderful life, but that was a long distance relationship. And you know, we met in Cabo. It was a very freakish thing, and then COVID hit. But to make a long story short, thank you for having dinner with me when I was alone and isolated
You can't be this.
in a small apartment in South Dakota.
That's far too sweet when you just said, well, he's a lucky guy because you're very expressive and you have a love of stir fry.
Yes, I do. Yes, I do.
Customize night after night.
Exactly.
And delicious.
Exactly.
So,
Thank you.
Thank you so much for calling, and thank you for having dinner with me.
Thank you.
And thank you for the work that you do. I know there's a lot of heavy lifting that you do out there in the world, so thank you.
Well, I'm Adria Hagg, and if you ever need therapy, I guess I can't take you now because, well.
Right. Well, let me ask you this question then. I just had the idea now, and I'm glad I thought of this before I hung up. Psychoanalyze me right now. What do you got? What do you got on me? Hit me with what you're feeling. Add it all up.
You know, I wonder if you're stuck somewhere between where you are in the present. You know, I always tell people in therapy, you know, we live in the past, we fear the future, and we're never really in the present. And I think that there's so many things that we want, and but we feel like we're stuck somewhere in the past. Trauma does that to us sometimes. And
sure, yeah, a little blob of you ends up a little lower on the
yeah.
ladder than the rest of you is. You're a couple rungs down, a couple little blobs, yeah.
Yeah, and I think that you know, even though somebody can be very successful or be in a dark place, we all have grief. And we all have some trauma that transcend one another. And I can't analyze you over a 20-minute call. I mean, that wouldn't, you know.
Scale of 1 to 10. Scale of 1 to 10. How well adjusted do you think I am?
Ah!
Scale of 1 to 10.
Do you want me to diagnose you with adjustment disorder? With a...
No, just a scale of 1 to 10. We can make it even more simple. Am I killing it? Am I killing it out there in the world? Scale of 1 to 10.
I don't know. It depends what you want to kill it at.
There's the therapist talk. That's what I'm talking about. Thank you very much for the call.
Thank
And,
you.
Take good care.
Yeah, take care.